Hello, everybody. I hope you're here. I apologize right now for my red eyes. I got allergy eyes and allergy face and allergy runny nose. But that's just the way it is. It's been a good day. It was cold. We woke up this morning about 48, 47 degrees. Had I known it was going to be that cold, I would have done some butchering. I would have left the root cellar door open. But it was 70s most of the day. Got into the 80s. Got a little warm later on in the day, but my allergies didn't kick in till about an hour ago, real bad. A lot of times it's because I'm really sleepy. What are you doing, Daniel? You're just writing your name? Hello, everybody. Hello, California. Hello, Andrews, Texas. Hello, Montana. Hello, Kentucky. If I'm missing you, get in there and write in where you are in the comment section. Also, the like button. Everybody. Smash the like button. So, so woke up. It was kind of cold. And yesterday was the worst day. If I was going to quit this thing, I hate to even say this. If I was going to quit, it would have been yesterday. Just absolutely went wrong. Everything went wrong. I'm not going to spoil it because I know you guys want to watch it when it comes around, but everything went wrong. And because of that, the rest of the whole time is going to be harder. But whenever it's usually a sign that good things are happening, because otherwise you wouldn't be disappointed. Oh, I expected that. Hello, Ohio. Hello, Mississippi. Hello, Z. Glad to see you guys, man. Everybody say hi and hit the thumbs up button. So it's yesterday was so bad. That picture on the that was me waiting for yesterday's episode 2 to upload, and so it was just one thing after another. And so I finally got it took 10 hours to edit episode 2, and I got it done, and I got it uploading, and I was like, it's an hour and a half, hour and 59 minutes, something like that, and I had plenty of time. Cool. So I go up to the cottage. There's a disaster up there I won't even get into because it's a spoiler. Complete disaster. I'm up there for a while, get down here, and the power had gone out, which cut off my upload. I finally got it uploading again, and the speed dropped from 18 gigabytes or megabytes upload per second to 4. So that's why we yesterday. But that's only part. Yesterday was horrible. I actually considered quitting. Not for more than a second or two. I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Hello, John. Hello, Plain Jen. Hello, Seth, Deanna. So great to see you guys here. So today was better. I made beer. Got some stuff done. Got some cleaning up done. On the sauerkraut, it's doing great. If you might have seen me during my brief little Facebook deal, I drank one of the beers from day 2 that I bottled from day 2. We had a good day today. The temperature wasn't overly hot. It was actually pretty nice. It was real cold this morning. So, physically, I'm doing okay. I'm just really tired. I fell asleep. So I'll just tell you a little bit of yesterday. I'm not gonna spoil it, but a lot of what happened up there because I fell asleep down here in the chair. I'm thinking about it. I wasn't trying to go to sleep. I woke a nap or nothing. I sat down and I was out. And I thought I was out for 5 or 10 minutes, which is hello, Scott. Hello, Danielle. I love you. I saw so I thought I was out for 5 minutes or so, and I went up there and I had been out for quite a while, I guess. And so then one thing after another. Solar trailer ended up losing on the solar trailer. It was, and so I just realized I had to get through that day. I had to get through the day. And so it was good to get on here with you guys yesterday, watch episode 2, get episode 3, 4, 5, all that done. But so today I just decided I was going to have a good day, and it turned out to be a pretty good day. So got some stuff done, got to make some beer, got to drink some beer. I only had one, but it was good. That beer had been in that carboy for almost 2 years, probably 2 years, a year and a half at least, but I think it was 2 years. I think it would be 2 years coming up this summer. And it was good. It was very, very old school, traditional, like a lambic, like a Belgian lambic. From the blue skies of Montana, hello, Wardalheim. I do look tired. I am tired. I also fell asleep again today. Same deal. I was up there and I brewed the beer. My back was hurting so bad that I came times to do the back roller. I went back up there and sat down. I put some water on to boil because there's so much to clean up after you brew. And out. Sleep. I'm so tired. I've been getting about 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. So, and that's just because I'm just going all day, 100 miles an hour. And, but it's good. It's all good for me. PJ from Boston. Hi, hello, PJ. We got a good crew here, man. A lot of people from all over the place. You guys smash the like button. Everybody do it. Everybody do it. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. No pressure. No pressure. Go do it right now. Got a package in the mail too. Cool. Yeah, didn't get any mail today. Didn't get any packages here. I did weigh in this morning. It's now, but I forgot to celebrate. Yesterday was the end of the 16th week of my fitness quest. I am loosely on a half a year plan, so 10 more weeks. And so I weighed in this morning, 181 pounds. So I have already decided, and I think I announced this, but 178 is where I hit the 100-pound mark. And so I decided I'm going to hit 178 just to say it, because, you know, there's some cachet. You get some cachet credit because you're going, I lost 97 and a half pounds. People are like, oh, who cares? But I lost 100 pounds, or people are like, how did you do it? What did you eat? What kind of carrot cake? How much carrot cake did you eat? So I'm going to go ahead and do the 100 pounds, and then I'm going to turn this thing around, but it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to turn it around and start heading back up the other way. I'm going to try to get to 210 as my goal, but I change my goals all as I get more information. So, you know, I wanted to talk about some stuff. I talk about that stuff. I want to say, how are you guys doing? How's it going out there? I haven't seen any news other than, you know, the political stuff. I found out that our favorite restaurant is going to reopen because we were afraid it was never going to reopen. They're going to reopen. So I'm excited about that. Just that they're still going to be in business. And right around the time that I get out of this thing, this prison of self-loathing and despair, but I get to spend it with you guys. I'm going to, the gym is going to be open, and so I might be able to get into a gym because that's the next part of the plan. You like this background? I could be happy without the banner. Yeah, I do too, but the lighting is just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare, and everybody, it's going to be a little different with the banner. The lighting will be so much easier to handle because, like right now, I got sun hitting me right across this eye. But if I move, then I get a glare, and there's a dot right here, reflection dot. Then there's this that catches your eye right there. So there's all that. So we're going to improve things, but it's not going to change what I am and what I'm doing. All right. All right. So I want to talk about this thing I want to talk about, and it's what I was thinking about today when I was walking around. Oh, by the way, somebody asked a question in the comments. Yeah, 25%. but this is Coleman, Texas. If there's ever more center people in there, that's pretty rare. Well, no, you'll still see the books. The banner is going to go from up here. It's just going to block the windows. All the books will be the same. All the liquor bottles and all that, and this lantern, all that you won't be able to see from on this side of the banner. The banner is just going to go from the top of this bookshelf, and it's going to go from this corner this way. And then I will get something to block that window. But you guys will still see the books. Everything else will be the same. All right. So that's the thing. So again, what was I saying? Oh, some guy asked a question good on the comments. I appreciate that. I appreciate somebody taking the time to ask a question in the comments. A lot of people don't even comment, which you should comment even after you get off of here. You should just comment. How many animals do you all cull a year? Okay, so on a regular year where we've got a full complement of all of our animals, we normally always, we would cull all of the roosters, unless we decide there's one we want to keep, but all the so in any given year, depending on how much outer we buy, that could be 6 to 10, 20, I don't know, however many roosters you end up. And so that's one thing. Then any of the females that need to be culled, chickens, every year we cull all the male bulls. You're going to notice a pattern here. So either we sell them, we take them to the sale barn, or we butcher them. But all of our bulls every year, we haven't done it in a few years, but for years, we culled one lamb a 1 year every year. And what else? Pigs. So whatever pigs need to go. So it's anywhere from 2 to 6 in a year. We're going to be culling probably 3 or 4 pigs between now and the fall. So Danielle is like calling all the butchers, trying to get a butcher date. And the place we like to go, we couldn't even get in till August. I have no idea why. And then we ended up a few other dates at different places, but it's winter, we will butcher ourselves if we want to. If it's not winter, if it's summer, then we take them to the butcher because they have a freezer and they let us come get it in batches. We don't have to go get the whole thing, right? So here we are. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Hey, everybody, we're monetized now. You got to watch the commercials. Got to watch them all the way through. That's the only way. So, all right. So the topic, again, I want to talk about the topic, but I want to talk about, so if you have questions or comments about anything else, put them in the comment section. I am here, sleepy, allergy-eyed, to help you, to help you guys. If you guys have something you want to talk about, then I want to talk about what you want to talk about. What is it, or who is it that is poor? Have you, because there's a whole chapter in here, right? What is it to be poor? The term as it's used today is a term. The poor prior to the Industrial Revolution were those who were unlanded, which means they didn't own any land, and unemployable. So in the Bible, when it says we're poor, it was talking about people that were unlanded and unqualified or unable to work. There's a lot of things I can get into about that. One of the that Jesus constantly told them, the widows, take care of the widows, take care of the widows, was that a widow was most likely not permitted to work. So she was thrust into the poor, unless she came from a very wealthy and she had a kinsman redeemer that redeemed her, thrust into poverty when her husband died. This is why Jesus told John to take care of his mother and basically become her son, because he didn't want his mother to work. So poor meant you weren't able to work, out to work, and you didn't have land. All right. So when we start moving into the Middle Ages, you have these unlanded poor who were, depending on the country, could have been any number. They could have been immigrants. They could have been serfs. They could have been people who sold into, and the term itself had, especially in Russia and Eastern Europe, had nothing to do with how much stuff you had or how well you lived. It merely categorized unlanded, own land. All right. We have this picture in our head of poverty, Middle Ages, and other places. It's been wholly a concoction of cartoonish propaganda from the late stages of the aristocracy. Hold on a minute. It says my connection is. Y'all let me know if you're hearing me. I don't even know if I'm connected. It's saying my connection. The internet people. While you guys are telling me that, I'm going to read the comments. Yes, I have a preferred recipe for the kraut. Salt, sliced carrots, and cabbage. All right. And I don't want to keep going. It's too good for me to waste. All right. Audio is fine. It's not consistent on my side. Give it a few minutes, and then I remember where I was, and I'll get back to it. I don't want a whole great dissertation and then lose it, right? Hello, Devon. What kind of books are you reading through this challenge, and what kind of challenge is this? I ask because I want to know how one gets through this other. The books that I'm reading are Bible. That's it. I'm not reading any other books right now. And I'm reading it in 3 different iterations. I'm reading my King James Cambridge, James 1611, the Apocrypha, and I'm reading the Geneva Bible. All right. Y'all let me know when it's back to normal, when it's not jumping around, and I'll get back into what I was talking about. I think it's this whole internet slowdown, man. They're throttling the internet because you stop a revolution or a riot is to make sure YouTube and Netflix are going full speed. But YouTube, they're talking about the downflow coming from YouTube. Out here where I am doing a live, there's no if they've throttled the internet, they've throttled the internet. So type in there once it's back to normal, and I'll get back to what I was saying, because it was pretty good. Pretty good deal. I can see my beard's a little uneven here. A little corner job right there. So now I'm just looking at myself talking into this screen. Hey, y'all remember the super chats are available. You remember you can mail me. You can write me letters. I got some letters and some pictures. Sounding good. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, so, and the question was what kind of, it's a 30-day off-grid survival challenge where basically I didn't make any plan. I want to talk about this later, too. I didn't make any plans beforehand. No special. It was just the worst time in our history living off-grid for me to do this and to not go 30 days and to try to increase in inflation while this whole thing's going on. So that's basically it. You'll see it when you watch the daily episode, what the actual challenges are. All right, so poverty. The word poor did not mean didn't have any money or didn't eat well or didn't live well. The word poor meant you didn't have land. You were not a part of the aristocracy. And I don't know what that light is on my watch. There's a reflection. It's from, I amused myself like a cat. And so it just meant you didn't have land. And so there's this idea that is part of a propaganda policy by industrialists to change what the word poor meant. And it was an intentional policy. If you guys have ever studied propaganda, this all comes up of propaganda. And so one of the things they had to do was demonize aristocracy. Nobody wanted to go back to that. Monarchy and aristocracy were going to be considered absolutely. And what they did is they used the very of those systems and the corruption that brought about their downfall, and then cast that backward like it had always been that way, right? And so the sound is going out again. Option should be right next to the little smiley face and stuff on the comments. There should be a little dollar sign right there. And so, am I getting through? Getting choppy again? I hate this. I was having fun. My internet refuses to load any canning recipes. Yeah. Hello, Hoosier State. Good to see you guys. Hey, everybody, smash the like button. I'm gonna get this speech out, but I don't want when the sound's bad. Still choppy. So frustrating. Is anybody else seeing the super chat button down there? Oh my gosh, this is frustrating. I need to have a beverage. Water. You're from New York? Yeah, so what they do is they and they're doing the same thing with capitalism, right? The people here, like my chair, communism, they take the corruption of and capitalism is corrupt now. They take the corruptions of crony capitalism. Hey, thank you, Wardachheim, for that super chat. They take the corruptions of late day capitalism and crony capitalism, corporate capitalism, and all the corruptions of it. Like that's what it is, and that's what it's always been. So if you went back, you lived in a small town, and you raised chickens for eggs, and you took your eggs and traded them, and continued to increase because of your frugality and you're living under your means, and you're productive, and then you were able to buy some land because you couldn't do back that in the old country, but now you could, and you actually became part of the landed gentry in Virginia. That wasn't crony capitalism, but they were become a respected parts of society, and say that's the same as, them bailing out Goldman Sachs and all of the politicians' children, wickedest part of the wickedest epic of that thing, and then you cast that as the whole thing, right? And so they've done that with monarchy, they've done it with aristocracy, they've done it with all. Thank you, John, for the super chat. You guys are great about that. I appreciate it. My connection keeps going in and out, and it's really, really peeing me off. Is that better? So, for example, in Russia, for most 1,000 years, if you were a serf in Russia, yes, you were property. You were attached to a property, and it had nothing to do with color, race, or anything else. Something to get you there. Either you're overrun and you were defeated, you attacked another country and you were defeated, or you sold yourself. People were not forced into serfdom. They became serfs, but it wasn't bad. I've read on written by the people that were there. And so the average serf had land, had property, had rights, could buy themselves back if they, most of them didn't want to do anything. They just, and they could work their own land, their own product from their own land. They were just considered property, and they were attached to a large estate. All right. But they were considered poor because they were not officially landed. No, Dickens, right, which was part of the Industrial Revolution, was part of that whole. Dickens was merely pointing out reality, the reality of people living in the cities. Dickens was not writing about poverty from people that lived in the country. He was writing about poverty of people that lived in the cities. And the cities, because of the Industrial Revolution, were full. And that became the caricature of poverty. In America, there was an intentional plan to move people off the farms because independent farmers who were sustenance farmers, they weren't necessarily raising cash crops, were free people. They were free. Nobody wanted that. In order to make your industries work, you need people buying products, and you need people buying products they didn't even know they needed. The whole idea was read the Southern agrarian poets, read any of the books from Robert Penn Warren or any of those guys. And there was an intentional plan to move people out of the countryside and move them. And this is a lot had to do with the Depression and all that kind of stuff. So you had all these immigrants, this country full of immigrants, and that's fine. That's probably where my people came from. Those immigrants were sold a bill of goods about what they were going to get when they got here. And so they were pumped into these cities. Chicago became the biggest city in the world. And it was completely full of people who didn't own land and who had been told that if they moved and advertisers had determined that the way you get somebody to sell themselves is you convince them that they're poor. The social pressure to not be poor had to be amplified. Well, you could only do that if you change the definition of poor. The poor in Russia ate better than anybody in America today. If you went into the rich man's house, and this is in book, they hide stuff like this in books. Read War and Peace, read any of these books. If you went into a rich man's house, you probably were going to eat boiled meat. And I don't know who's chatting with me. Boiled meat, pardon me, and potato cooked fresh. You had a larder with stuff in it. Let me read what it's saying. I'm sorry you have a meeting. Thank you for the super chat, and it's buffering. If not, then we're going to have a problem, and I'm going to have to redo this at some point. So the poor who lived on the land of the rich man, who was eating boiled meat and cabbages and potatoes, his meat from his animals, he didn't have refrigeration. He couldn't get ice, was preserved. They mastered preservation of food. So sliced meat, cheeses, wine, sauerkraut, what we would call a charcuterie plate today would be $18 for a little plate of food that what we consider to be rich people food now, right? Sausages with some beautiful crackers, jam. All of these are preserved food. Do you? And so I'm hoping people are getting to see this. If not, it's helping me. That's the way that poor people ate. Poor people ate better than rich people do today. And so here's the thing. They had to convince people they were poor. Read Sinclair Lewis. They got together and they put up billboards. Nobody knew what toothpaste was. Not because they had bad dental health. They scrubbed their teeth, but they didn't know what toothpaste was. Most people use baking powder or ashes. But if you want to sell toothpaste and no one even knows what it is, you have to have a social revolution. You have to sell people on the idea that if they don't have toothpaste, other people are going to consider them trash. Deodorant, same thing. You put out in movies and you put out on TV shows, people like, oh, your deodorant's bad, and all of this. The people that stink are the people that shower every day and wear deodorant. That's why you get out of the shower and an hour later you stink, because you're not anymore and they haven't been there for 20 years. But they sold everybody this idea that you need to take 2 or 3 showers a day and you need to be putting chemicals on the most sensitive parts of your body, or else you're going to stink and everybody's going to make fun of you. Did you know that in China, they didn't snack? The Lay's potato chip company put a plant in China before they realized they didn't eat snacks in China. They didn't snack between meals. So in order to sell potato chips in China, they had to have a social revolution where they had to convince people that rich Americans and rich Westerners snack on chips. And once they were able to do that by paying for ads in the media and all kinds of stuff and in shows, portraying the rich eating potato chips, there were potato chips all over the country, on roadside stands and everything. You have to convince people that the rich people are doing it, and then that's how you sell it. That type of covetousness, right? Most of you, if you look through your house, most of the stuff that you have, subconsciously somebody convinced you that rich people do that. One of the funny, do you remember paneling in the 70s? Somebody type in if you remember paneling. Remember paneling? You know, it was fake wood grain with the stripes. Remember the Brady Bunch? They had the paneling section, and tell me if you remember paneling. You ever wonder why? You ever wonder why? Why is there this wood grain with stripes going down? I'll tell you why. When you were poor, going back, brick or stone. If you were rich or upper middle class and you didn't want to be considered poor, but your house was made out of wood, then you used I can't think of the name of it, where they slather it on there and then paint it, whitewash it, stucco. So you made it look like stone or concrete. Plaster, yeah. So eventually, somebody figured out a way for poor people to plaster their walls. So poor people started getting plastering their walls, and then whitewashing them. And then the rich people went, well, we don't want to look like them. So the rich people paid people to come in and paint very delicate paintings on their whitewashed walls. In castles. People think of castles as these dark, dungeonous rock. Every one of those castles that you ever seen in a movie that's just gray stone. Yeah, we might have to do that with a call-in line. Or what I could do is I could run a recording. I could actually have a camera just recording this, and if it comes in choppy, I could just push that up. We'll start doing that. All right, so now you have rich people, and they're painting delicate paintings of flowers and fauna and all that on their whitewashed walls, and that's how you knew they were rich, right? Because you had to be able And somebody figured out that you could sell the poor paper that had the paintings on them already that had been printed, and they could glue them up on their walls. And once they had that, then the rich people were like, no, we don't want that anymore. You know what they wanted? Wood. So the rich people came in and got very expensive wood, usually in 4 to 8 inch wide boards, and put those up on their wall and stained them. And as those woods contracted, there would be the stripe between the boards. Then somebody figured out that you could make dimensional lumber, wood, that kind of looked like wood with stripes, and that's called paneling. Yeah, all of this I'm saying is hidden in one of my books. If you go to some old houses, and I've torn down some old houses, you can see the whole process. They had a wood house with wood. Then they plastered, then they had paneling on there on top of that. And I've ripped through paneling through the whole process of those people being convinced that since rich people are doing it one way, you need to do that. Eventually, somebody invented sheetrock. What is sheetrock? Sheetrock is a way to make your walls look whitewashed plastered without ever having to whitewash and plaster. All of this to convince you that you're poor, when really, historically, you were poor. You weren't allowed to vote. You weren't considered. Only in late day aristocracy could you not buy land. But that's the thing. And so what they've done now is we're like the 4th generation or 5th generation that they've convinced are poor, even if you eat good, even if you have the ability to grow your own food. You have to have this stuff to be considered not poor. And then there's a social sanction if you are poor. And I've told people before, I'm poor. I live on less money than your car payment, almost certainly. Cheese, and I can eat well, and I can harvest food off the land. This whole survival thing is to show you, as a poor person with no preparation beforehand, and in a poor year, when things are going poorly and we don't have anything in the root cellar, you can still be rich. My best day would be considered rich historically. My worst day would be considered rich. So you get what I'm saying? As we go through this COVID-19 and coronavirus and all this kind of stuff, there is an emphasis on re-examination, or there should be, of the things that are important. Historically, I don't know what just happened on my watch, but historically, things were different and things were understood better about what your condition and your position was. From now, if you could cast your mind back, that your progeny, your grandchildren's grandchildren, would be sitting in a dark room, 72 degrees year round, pecking at a dot, getting fed by the machine where they can do it and all that stuff. And they tell you you're poor. Yeah, the upper crust. Can you imagine going back to Tsarist Russia and going find a serf Petrov who's got a nice house, wife, 40 acres, 5 cattle. He gets to cull the bulls every year for meat. he has 40 acres, but they're not officially his. They belong to the landowner, but he pays a lease. We all pay a lease. If you pay a land payment, I mean, if you pay a land property taxes, you're paying for a lease. Can you imagine that guy? In years, your great grandchild is going to be sitting in a box 10 by 10, can't go outside unless the government lets him, can only shop at certain times on certain days, has to dress a certain way, eating minerally deficient food, being told this and that, and what he can't do and what he can think and all this kind of stuff, having all of his opinions given to him every day. And then they tell that old man back then, you were poor, but he's rich. He's got a car, right? I don't get into protest. My whole life is a living protest. I hate sheetrock too. All right, y'all. I'm sorry that was all broken up. What I'm going to start doing is have another camera when I can do it running, and we'll have a second recording of this. And if it ends up like this, I'll just delete this file and I'll put up another file with the complete thought, right? Hopefully this file may still have it. My face itches so bad. All right. You guys have anything you want to talk? Subscribe, share this with people who need to know. Yeah, second camera. I'm putting some of this stuff on here because it helps. This hemp lotion. Thank you guys for the super chats. Super chats are always welcome. I think I'm going to turn it in because I'm really tired. I hope you guys get to catch that whole thing. If not, I don't know what I'm allergic to yet. Something environmental. I think it's the right now. I think it's the oak pollen. But I think what happens is I've got something going on inside that's causing me to be over responsive to. So it could be a autoimmune thing or something. But I'm working on it. What book and here's the thing. I'm always reading more than one Bible, and I'm always reading more than one book. So here's the way I do it. If I have one right here, okay. In every Bible that I have a Bible everywhere I sit, and they're different Bibles. On that Bible, I'm reading through that Bible differently than I'm reading through another Bible. So in my Geneva Bible, I'm in 2 Samuel. And what I do is when I'm in church or where I'm somewhere and someone says, turn to this book of the Bible, and I turn to that book, I know how many times I've read that chapter in that Bible alone, just that one. So in my King James Cambridge Bible, I'm reading in Matthew, and in my King James 1611, I'm actually reading in 2nd Esdras, which is part of the Apocrypha. I don't consider it part of the Bible, but it is in the Bible. To be horrified that I'm a wage slave, yeah. Things are going to change. Revolution is in the air, even if it's a mental one. We're setting brush fires in men's and women's minds. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. I love you, Lord willing. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to get the next episode up, but I'm going to start working on it in the morning and keep it on here and doing everything I need to do. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you, Lord willing, tomorrow.